Dead men can't save you. Glenn Townend reflects on our mortal human condition and inquires whether immortality is possible. Your narrator is Debbie Hanson. Once you're dead, you're dead. You can't interact with anyone who's still alive. It doesn't matter whether that dead person is Superman, Spider-Man, your father, your big sister, or your spouse. Communication is no longer possible. We are all born to die. Thus, it would really be helpful if someone could help us overcome death, right? And it would obviously be important for that someone to be alive himself. All religions deal with the big spiritual questions, such as, why do humans suffer? Why is there evil and death? And how do we overcome death? Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity all provide answers to those questions. I have explored them all, and Christianity offers the answer that I find most satisfying. Dead men can't save us, even if that dead man was Jesus Christ himself. If Jesus were still dead, even though he had been the Son of God, he couldn't save you. History records that Jesus Christ was crucified outside of Jerusalem by Roman soldiers in about A.D. 31. A so-called friend betrayed him, and his other close friends deserted him. He was falsely accused, illegally tried, and condemned to die by people who knew he was innocent. He was also flogged, punched, nailed to a cross, and stabbed in the side with a sword. When the executing centurion surveyed the scene late on Friday afternoon, there was no doubt that Jesus was truly dead. He was buried quickly without a funeral, partly because he was considered a criminal, and partly because the Jews would not permit a funeral late on Friday afternoon, just before the Sabbath. Jesus was placed in a rock tomb that was typical for the time. A round stone was then rolled over the opening, and it was sealed with a Roman seal. On Sunday morning, several faithful followers who went to the tomb found the seal broken, the stone rolled away, and the tomb empty. Angels appeared and told them that Jesus was alive and that they could expect to see him soon. Here is where many people consider the Jesus story to be fanciful, because it describes a dead person coming back to life. I can understand their skepticism, because I've never seen a dead man or woman come back to life. However, it's dangerous to limit truth to our own experience. Like the early scientists, I've also never seen the microorganisms that cause disease. But I know they exist because I've seen and experienced the consequences. Neither have I seen how the medicine I take fights the disease, but I accept it, by faith at first, and then by experience as I recover. There are many other things that I have not seen and have to accept by faith of some sort, so I also accept by faith that Jesus rose from the dead. Jesus is the most widely known religious leader in the history of the world. Other religious leaders have offered good spiritual advice on how to cope with the challenges of life. However, if they have not overcome death, they are not dealing with humanity's major problem. Jesus came to save people from sin, evil, and death. He lived and died, and then he rose from the grave, because dead men cannot save others. If he hadn't overcome death, humankind would have no hope for its survival. Before Jesus died, he predicted both that he would die and that he would rise again. Either he was completely mad, or this did happen just as he said. Jesus' death was no ordinary death. The Gospels record that as he approached the end, there was an eclipse of the sun for 3 hours, and the sun returned immediately after he died. When Jesus breathed his last, The curtain that separated the two sacred apartments in the Jewish temple was torn from top to bottom, and there was a great earthquake. Also, dead people from previous generations who'd gone to the grave as believers in the coming Christ came alive at this time. The Bible says that the tombs broke open, and the bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs, and after Jesus' resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many people. Matthew 27, verses 52 and 53. A major biblical metaphor for death is sleep. Indeed, to God, death is but a sleep. Because Jesus has conquered death, he has the keys to open the graves of others. The few who were resurrected at the time of his death and resurrection are but a sampling of the millions who will come to life when he returns to earth at his second coming. Jesus promised to come back to earth and deal with the ultimate human tragedy, death. The Bible promises that just as Jesus rose from the dead, humans will also. Death is inevitable, but not invincible. We need not fear it. In the biblical sense, death is merely a blissful state of non-existence, and the believer does not need to fear it or fight against it. My faith in the teachings of the Bible enables me to believe that Jesus is alive and has conquered death for me. Even if I do die, Jesus will call me back to life. I will be raised from the dead and live again to a life that is far better than the one I am now experiencing. Some people claim that they have communicated with people who died and were buried or cremated. I don't doubt their sincerity, but the Bible explains their experience differently. The Bible is very clear that the dead take no part in anything that happens on earth. Ecclesiastes 9, verses 5, 6, and 10. So, who or what is it that these people saw and heard? Some say they saw the spirit of the deceased, or that they saw the person's spiritual body. The Bible says that angels are spirits, Hebrews 1, verse 14, but it never speaks of humans becoming spirits when they die. It's crucial to understand that not all angels or spirits are good. The Bible speaks of evil spirits or demons. These demons have much the same power as good angels, and they can make themselves appear to be someone or something else, even someone who has died. The Bible warns against the deceptions of these evil spirits in Revelation 16, verses 13 and 14. Dead humans do not receive some form of spiritual body that is able to manifest itself the same way angels do. However, those who accept Jesus will receive an eternal spiritual and physical body at Jesus' second coming, when he brings back to life all those who have died believing in him. 1 Corinthians 15, verses 50 through 54.